I think I have my pickup not totally fixed, but usable to where I can go out and do a few jobs. There's a handful of my customers, like three or yeah, two or three. I don't know. I need to call people and see who's waited for me for the past couple of weeks. Still needs me because it's been warm through the daytime, but it's not unbearably hot. It's maybe 85, 90. So without a working air conditioner, you can kind of tough it out. And a lot of people do if you're acclimatized there. But anyway, yeah, need to call people and see. I'm going to head out in one job. Probably just do them one at a time. Call people first. There's one I need to get a part for. I'll probably do this afternoon. I can do that in about 10 minutes, and I'll probably show you that one. Now, on my pickup, let me kind of briefly cover the what I call troubleshooting. Now, that's a term you don't hear too much anymore, but that's a term, and we should bring it back. But I should title some videos here on YouTube: troubleshooting automotive problems, troubleshooting electrical problems, like household wiring, that type of thing. The process, the videos I've watched, especially automotive ones, the ones I've watched, the individuals are clueless on how to, use the ohm meter, how to use the voltmeter to track problems. So that's not really the type of videos that I really wanted to make because I think I could make some very decent troubleshooting videos showing people how to use an ohm meter, how to use a voltmeter. You got to have a little bit of basic electrical skills to do that. But what, on my pickup, now there's that plug that goes into the back of the ECM. There's actually two of them. Well, I've got one schematic that's actually labeled. Now I got two others that just show the basic functions, some cryptic wire schematics that are really hard to follow. So you got to get you a good schematic. You got to know how to read schematics. But anyway, it showed 4 pins where the wires. That was the last thing I actually checked on there. It said that it was running on propane. So I said, well, the distributor is good. I didn't realize there was a second. Well, I knew there was a second set of wires that go back to the ECM, but I didn't really think of that. That was a problem. But I said I did have a wire that had broken in there. Just 30 years of running vibrations and me twisting, installing and replacing distributors, and taking a toll on that wire, and it eventually is broken. But I use my ohm meter. I said, the schematic will say, the pin A13 and B4. I don't know what it was, but whatever the schematic said, I took each individual wire. This is an electronic component, on my ohm meter. Hang on, let me check it real. Let me clear this off of there. But anyway, I tell you what, I'd use, both polarities of my ohm meter because that is a electronic component. You figure there's probably going to be some ICs or, diodes in there that will have, continuity one direction and may not have continuity the other direction. You got to do a little bit of electronic knowledge for that to have meaning for you. But anyway, I just went through and checked each of the 4 wires, both directions with my ohm meter, and while switching the negative and positive, the probes, just in case I was reading, the case with diode or transistor. Yeah, that's something TikTok. I'll clear that in a minute. But anyway, just checking every wire combination in both directions with my ohm meter probe, and one wire kept coming back infinite resistance. And I said, that wire's got to be open. That wire's got to be a problem. I thought, well, what I can do is just, you can take a little pin and shove it in the wire at one end and shove it in the wire in the wire at the other end. If you've got a wire open in the mid span, let's say, go through a body connector, because this thing has 2 or 3 different body connectors. There's a big pins that connect, where it goes through the through the firewall. But I thought I was kind of thinking that's what the problem was. As soon as I realized that wire is a problem, I looked down there from the top of the engine and I could actually see where that wire was broken. I said, well, that's a problem. That's a stupid broken wire that's been eluding me for the past 5 days since I did the pressure regulator on that fuel injector. Now, if you look at that thing, yeah, I'm getting all kind of weird messages this morning. But anyway, that was that problem. So I need to make some videos on it. Title them, troubleshooting automotive electrical problems, something like that. Give some basic, how-tos on in case somebody else got this problem. Actually try to find a broken wire. But my pickup is because it'll run down the road great. It doesn't idle for anything. But I've got a bunch of vacuum stuff I still need to hook up. I'm going to do the valve cover gaskets not this morning, but a bunch of stuff I have deliberately left unhooked. Just because it's a real pain in the ass to pull back off again to get down to the valve covers. I'm gonna leave those loose until I I got to put different valve cover gaskets in there because the ones I put in are hopped out. Several things I'm going to put off. I'm gonna, try to cover some, some job this morning. Now there's several places. There's one lady I need to call her if I need to run out there. Now it's probably about another 6 or 8 miles to where the cow puncher's out there. But I wanted to do that cow puncher, get out there. I've got some videos from maybe 6 months, a year ago when I was out there, but I knew I needed to do one as a special tribute to Adam the Woo. Probably just, of course, I may put that off to later because I may do that. May hit a buckeye and at a different date. Um, you know, well, I may hit the cow punch this morning, or I may not. I don't know, but sometime I need to do it as a tribute to Adam the Woo. Now, if you don't know, Adam the Woo died just before Christmas, and quite a number of people have done tribute videos to Adam the Woo. He was a very, very prominent YouTube content creator, and it's too bad that he left us. I've got a theory, or maybe he's gone, or maybe he just chose to exit stage left, and maybe he's got a girlfriend over there in Switzerland or Holland or someplace. Who knows? Just my thoughts. But anyway, I don't know if I'll get out to the cow puncher. Now, next thing, there's several other places that I need to make different videos, and in the foreseeable future, I need to get down to WSM, not only make a video down there, see if there's anything that maybe I have some money, by the May auction, and then go down and get something cheap, and then wrench on it to make that my YouTube content create video. Well, you know what I'm saying. My video to go. An old broken Ford pickup or Chevy pickup. Yeah, I've had Fords, Chevys, Mopars. I've had some Toyotas. I've had some Farfignugens, some Volkswagens. If anybody does, well, foreign means to drive, and Nugen is like to have fun. That was a term coined by Volkswagen. I think it's like fun while driving or fun to drive. It's one of those two. But there's only a handful of people that remember those old Volkswagen ads that referred to them as Farfignugen. Anyway, that's kind of getting, well, I kind of wanted to get this video all over the place because most of my videos don't have any central theme to them. But anyway, now there's another job. Well, actually, I had my friend, before this job is over, about a third of the way over to the wrecking yard. I should have got a video of the wrecking yard, but I didn't. Well, our friend had tied a ladder to her car. I got up on this roof about a third of the way over to the wrecking yard. Just look at this, and I told her, I said, look, the compressor's bad on this particular air conditioner, it's short to ground. What I like to do, well, this tripped the breaker instantly, and what I like to do is pull the wires off to the compressor itself and check with an ohmmeter, and it was short to ground. So I went down and I told her, said the compressor's bad. Well, she had said some other guy had got up there and told her the motor burned up on there, so I'm sure that's what he had, I was a second opinion. But this particular air conditioner is about ready. The rust is about ready to take this thing. It's 30 plus years old. The compressor I could replace. I know how to do that. The whole unit. Now I know how to replace whole units, but it's not something I do. It's duct work in there. I don't like to do duct work. You got to get a crane over there to lift a new unit on the roof. It's just not something I do. Now, if somebody else wanted to set up and do the duct work, I could do the electrical on it. That's pretty easy. The thermostat and the 240-volt lines. But anyway, I was trying to explain to this lady, she paid me for the service call. I was trying to explain to this lady that, look, if you had a 30-year-old car that's all beat up, would you pay a mechanic a couple grand to put an engine in there? And she kept arguing with me, and I said, well, let me talk to your husband. Her husband was at work. He called me back a couple hours later and said, would you do the compressor? And I said, well, trying to explain to him. I said, that's an old unit. It's all rusted. And he said, she goes, I'll pay you for it. And I said, all right. What I'm going to do, I'm going to go in there, give him a price on what I can do it for. And I said, look, if you want to pay me before I do anything, because I want to know I get paid. I said, look, I'll go put a compressor in there, but you pay me first on it. If he wants to do that, I'll put a compressor in there. I may go over there this morning and just show you that job. Because I've got video from that roof a few times. Where it's over. Well, I'll show you a video from that roof. I'm guessing the people just. I'm thinking they probably just want to hang in another year or so and just sell this place as is. I'm kind of thinking they don't want to put a lot of money in there. That's probably their thought process. I can put a compressor in there and make it work if that's what they want. They want to pay me. I think it'd be ahead to put another unit on there. If they sold their place, if they sold their place, they could get a bit more money. Or maybe they think that a new owner is just going to want to tear everything down and start over. That may be their thought. They just don't want to put a lot of money in there. That may be their logic on that. I don't know. But anyway, I may go over this morning. I may put that off for another day because it's not super hot. If I do that job, I'll probably go over there, hit up a WSM, get a video from over there. I've already charged the batteries of my camera. That's one thing for the guy that Jesse Drone Adventures. He was talking about the batteries running down on his cameras. He's got cameras and drones. Now they do make the cheapy. I've got about $100 camera I got off Amazon. Now I've looked up the replace. One battery for that camera is not very good, but I haven't done videos where I need extended battery life. But you can buy extra batteries. You can get these little 12-volt DC chargers. You can plug them into a car and charge them, off a car battery. That's something Jesse might think about for his drones. Get a 12-volt DC charger for his drone batteries, if they're available. 12-volt DC charger for this camera batteries, because I know the ones that my little cheapy. It's a Chinese brand camera. I've shown it a few times. I may show it again. The job I'm going to do first, or I'll probably do first this morning, if the lady still needs me, is out there where you can see the scar out there in the white tanks. And I've meant to get out there for a long time and just haven't. Now the scar, I've covered the scar. The scar is on the south side of the White Tank Mountains. It's close to that area they call the Verrado Steps, which is the north part of Buckeye. The White Tanks run from, the north part of Buckeye up to, just west of the town of Surprise. So they actually run a long ways. But anyway, that scar, it was a test track for Caterpillar. Caterpillar, the people that make the bulldozers and stuff, had a repair facility out there just south of the White Tank Mountains. They would drive their Caterpillars up, the side of the White Tank Mountains and dig big oak ashes in the side of the White Tanks. Of course, they've closed that operation many years ago, but that piece of it's a long stretch of land. You can see that for miles. That the area they call the scar is still there. And over in geological time, that scar's got to go away. Or if a bunch of people go up there and do some like restoration project, let's say Planet Wild goes up there and say, well, we don't like this scar. Planet Wild goes, hey, those people are cool. I seriously doubt Planet Wild would be really interested in making that scar go away. But if they went up there and said, well, look, if we plant this grass, if we find this grass that's native to this part of Arizona that likes this desert terrain, if you plant that, then people can no longer see the scar. I doubt that's going to happen, but that's just, I'm amusing myself with that thought. Let's see, what else am I going to cover? I'll save it for a future video. Hey, love y'all. For that one special chick, ich liebe dich, Frau. Auf Wiedersehen, lieben Sie wohl. That other chick, das Vestania. Ciao and au revoir. If some older chick wants to teach me how to French kiss and can say au revoir and some of the other French words, let me know. Otherwise,